This is a full deployment for us. We'll have over 200 of our vehicles out.
In D.C., the salt trucks will be out starting at midnight because we're about to see a lot of this on the roads. D.C. says they pre-treated across the city.
We've been treating them with a liquid brine and not with rock salt. Given the current ground temperatures, the brine is much more effective at making sure that any snow or rain doesn't bond.
The tropics aren't a bad place to be on a day like today.
Isn't it wonderful? I love it.
Elma Casalitis and her friend Ann came to the U.S. Botanic Garden to feel the warmth.
I love it. Of course, I love the warmth and the beautiful plants. This is my love.
It's about 80 degrees in the conservatory.
I'm going to stay inside.
Because right outside the Botanic Garden, there's ice. The birds don't seem to mind it one bit, but Shannon Day, on the other hand,
I don't like it. It's so cold.
They're visiting from North Carolina.
I want to go back right now. I can't do it. I'm too cold.
But they're here on a bitter, cold day.
If it's snowing now, then I'll be like, you know what? It's snowing, it's okay. But it's not, so it's just cold.
Fernando, Chico, and Papi Chulo are dressed for it.
Got to be a good mother and put their coat on, so.
All right, some clothing, okay.
At the Arlington Goodwill, the clothing and the cars just keep coming.
Good day for Goodwill.
The driving force behind all this? Time is running out to get those donations in and take a deduction on this year's taxes.
I'm gonna need my receipt for my company, though.
My son's showing me he's already got the tax donation slip in his hand, so.
Saving a few tax dollars may feel good, but most day for them, it's more about doing good.
You need a receipt, ma'am?
That's all right, thank you.
Okay.
Although that's not why I do it, and sometimes we don't even take it. So it's more about just getting things reused and not just thrown away.
It's always good to pass stuff on. I mean, if you're not using it, someone else should be able to use it instead of gathering dust in your closet.
During this last-minute rush, Goodwill receives tens of thousands of items each day. Everything from your practical items, like this toaster, your not-so-practical items, to your big-ticket items, like this hoverboard. All in all, these items should be tagged and ready to sell as early as tomorrow.
You know, I've been at Goodwill for 13 years, and it never gets any less heartwarming to see the outpouring of generosity from our community.
It feels fabulous. It feels completely fabulous. We've all got too much stuff.
For those of you toying with the idea of donating, you'll likely be sitting in a line like this. But the people waiting in it say it's worth it.
Thank you very much. You need a receipt, sir? Yes, please. Thank you. You have a wonderful day and Happy New Year.
In Arlington, Amy Cho, News 4.
Are you ready?
Competitive swimming is all about the tick of the clock. Beating time so you can win by 100th of a second, or for some, miss out by years. In the beginning, time was always on Clay Britt's side, winning his very first race.
I swam across the pool, got the other end, looked around, I was the only one there, and I thought, wow, this is really cool.
Britt's records are still standing at Montgomery Square Copenhagen Swim Club in Rockville, 47 years after he broke them in every stroke in every age group, even though future Olympians like Berriman and Veach came tearing down these same lanes after him.
I just love to race.
But at 13, he broke his ankle and couldn't swim breaststroke that summer.
I developed this flip turn with the cast that ultimately became so much faster that I just all of a sudden became a backstroker.
And like that, he started to beat the clock and everybody else. After graduating from Bullis in 1979, he set the pace at the University of Texas, winning the NCAA championships his freshman, sophomore, and junior years. It was his time. He was a favorite for the Olympics.
Good evening. There was a coup d'etat in
This time, the clock struck back.
Neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan just before the 1980 Olympics. In protest, President Jimmy Carter announced the U.S. would boycott the Games.
Ours will not go.
It's just a real shame that politics got in the way of people's life dreams. And the ramification of that is reverberates decades later. In swimming, it's every 4 years. That's your shot. So that window is so small to make it, and to lose that opportunity was very difficult.
He tried to qualify for the 1984 and the 1988 Olympic Games.
I felt so incomplete.
Time had moved on.
I think I was the oldest person in the meet swimming, and at 27. I was very happy I did that because it allowed me to move on with my life.
And he did move on to a successful career as a financial advisor in Bethesda, to starting a family. His daughter Elizabeth is now 9. And to getting back to swimming.
I have a love-hate relationship with swimming.
Time, he says, taught him how to appreciate gliding through the water again, how to let the stress wash away.
And you ask people that are our age, my age, older, it's a gift to have a love for swimming. It's a special thing.
Britt's coached master swimming here at the Bethesda Public Pool for 25 years.
All right, you guys, 3 sets of 4, 100.
And has managed to swim in a competitive meet every year for 50 years.
I'm going to hope that maybe the swimming gods will allow me to retire, but that's doubtful.
Because even though the clock reminds him of that time he lost out almost every day.
Every day.
He knows the passage of time allowed him to win the race that really matters in this game called life.
If you don't feel like you need rest, it means you need to work harder.
In Bethesda, Tisha Thompson, News 4.
The political circus was on display at a gathering in Washington as campaigns are in full cry across the country.
I think they're really clever and funny, and I'm not offended.
It's like PG funny.
Through humor, really deliver very serious messages.
The cartoonists were treated like rock stars. Tom Tolles of the Washington Post and Matt Worker of Politico.
This is the World Series, it's March Madness, it's the salmon are running, the bulls are running in the streets of Pamplona. It doesn't get any better for political cartoonists than during a presidential campaign.
Worker let us look over his shoulder at the cartooning of the candidates.
This presidential campaign is unlike any I've experienced ever in my career. This week alone, we had Hillary barking like a dog, the Pope in an airplane starting a Twitter war with Donald Trump, and I was expecting to see political cartoonist heads around the country just exploding. In Photoshop on the computer, I put the title "Where the Wild Things Are" underneath it.
One pen stroke and Worker punctures the image campaigns spend millions to craft.
The lipstick team, the what to eat team, the pantsuit team, of course, that's a cheap shot. I know, I'm sorry. What to drink team. I mean, everything is focus grouped. Bernie's big issue is reaching out to minorities, and maybe he could take a few hints from Beyonce. So this one was really fun to draw. I like to paint on paper with lots of detail. I still think cartooning is really about the drawing. Usually there's a point in the day where I'm standing around doing this, like, come on, dry so I can put you on the scanner. I had this idea watching the GOP debates about drawing the circular firing squad, you know, circle of candidates all shooting across at each other. And there's Donald Trump in the middle, his head spinning around like a machine gun. And then I realized when the Pope popped up at the end of the week that we'll throw the Pope in there. I would like to think that cartoonists can bring a certain amount of civilized levity to the conversation, and people understand that it's in good humor. He's got a remarkable face to draw, too.
Worker says there's a new outrage industry, and that the campaigns and their followers often don't have a sense of humor at all.
Once upon a time, you had to worry about the letters to the editor and people threatening to cancel their subscription. And now it's like that crazy thing in The Wizard of Oz with the witch sending the flying monkeys or something. Suddenly the flying monkeys are coming in on Twitter and on Facebook. I mean, people should be passionate about their politics, but I think it's really important in a democracy that we respect people's differences and we treat each other with a certain amount of respect. And ideally, a good joke or a witty retort can do that in a way that doesn't instigate a fight.
But if it does, he plans on having a ringside seat.
This is going to remain a really crazy circus right into the conventions, and then we have a whole new kind of circus. So I'm hoping I get to go to the conventions and take my sketchbook.